Mambo Team Africa Worldwide. Habari ya Asabui. Habari ya Mchana. Habari ya Jioni. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is my first post in a while. Just been out here grinding, been out here just working hard to provide for my family. And I knew that I had taken some time away from YouTube, but I didn't realize how long it actually had been. Um, on WhatsApp, some relatives of mine started a family group chat. And in that family group chat, uh, on Juneteenth, everybody was, just wishing everyone, a happy Freedom Day, happy Jubilee Day, or whatever. And then I posted in the comments, or on the chat that um, if anybody in the family was interested in learning Kiswahili, to check out my channel. I stated that I had not posted anything in a while, but I was going to start back posting real soon. And then I looked on the channel and I looked at the most recent video and it said 1 year. I was like, wow, time really, really flies when you're focused on certain things. And so currently I'm in the States. Plan to go back to my continental home, Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, really soon, probably in a few weeks. Um, but like I said before, and I'm gonna do my best to stay on it this time, is that I plan to be more consistent with my content. I'm gonna do my best to upload at least weekly, and uh, I'm going to focus less on social commentary and just more on the language. Everybody can't be everything to everybody. So I think uh, one of the most important parts of culture, probably second to religion, and we're never going to all agree for the same religion, at least no time soon. So the most important part of a culture or to unify a people is language. So that's why I choose to focus on language. I was a business communication major, when I was in university, and I've always cherished words. Not that I don't cherish numbers, because I am very, very interested in mathematics. I think it's great. I'm just not very good at it. Uh, so we tend to gravitate towards things that we are better at. Um, in high school, I did a year of French. I was pretty good. Within a couple of weeks, they took some of us out of the regular class and created an advanced class that was taught by the department head. And then after that, I didn't take another language until um, after college, actually. Well, I had a little exposure to Kiswahili. I bought a course, but I didn't follow up on it. So I started studying Spanish. I'm thinking about this whole black and brown coalition that does not exist. And I'm thinking nationally, I'm not really thinking globally at this time. So I spent a lot of time, money, and effort to study Spanish. And I got pretty good at it. I could speak a lot of Spanish, but I still had trouble hearing it. And I'm at that same point now with Kiswahili, where I can speak a lot of Kiswahili. I might not pronounce the words exactly like a local, but people know what I'm saying. I can get to where I need to go. I can buy what I need to buy. But when people start talking back to me in Kiswahili, that's where I have my trouble. But I literally know thousands of Kiswahili words, and I can type it. When I'm texting people, a lot of times people actually think I'm from East Africa because Swahili already mixes in English words here and there where there's no uh, daily translation for that word into Kiswahili. They'll just use the English word, and that's how they do it in Tanzania, and then in Kenya, where people are use English every day. So there's a lot of English mixed into the Kiswahili. So when I'm texting someone in Kenya, a lot of times they have a hard time believing that I'm African American. But it's a lot different when I actually talk to someone face to face. People, they think my Kiswahili is better than it is through texting. But when I meet face to face and I'm trying to talk to people and they're talking back, it's more of a struggle. But I've been studying the language for 6 years now. I got serious with the language in 2018. That's when I made my first trip to Africa. I went to Mombasa for my birthday. I believe that was my 49th birthday. So I was 48 when I first, uh, you know, stepped foot on the continent. And then while I was there, I turned 49. So that was my birthday present to myself. And I've been going back every year since then, with the exception of 2020. And then I moved to Tanzania um, during the pandemic in 2022. So I've made 8 flights to the continent and probably just living on the continent. I have probably over a year and a half on ground if I put all my time together. Um, but I try to explain to people though, even if you never go to Africa, which you should, even if you never go to East Africa, which you should, um, learning Kiswahili is still very, very useful. Uh, African Americans, we need a language that's distinctive from English. A lot of us say, "Oh, I'm American. I speak English." Well, English is from England. English is not from America. So when you think about that, that tells you that you're speaking somebody else's language. So we need a language of our own. Some people will try to argue that, African Americans have no ties to East Africa, which is not true because there's really no such thing as East African and West African because the different various groups migrated and crisscrossed the continent back and forth for thousands of years. Um, and so, like when they talk about the Bantu migration, Bantu migration coming from the Cameroon area and then spreading to the southern part of Africa, the central part, and then over to the eastern part. But since all life started in East Africa, those Bantus that came from West Central Africa, they was originally in East Africa. So there's no such thing as East African, West African, and all of that. And also um, they, they have a slave port in Kenya, and and they want to say it's just a Portuguese military fort, but you go there, you talk to the people, you find out that was a slave fort. It's called Fort Jesus, as a matter of fact. Um, there were Africans enslaved in Zanzibar, Madagascar, and those Africans weren't always going to the so-called Middle East. A lot of times they were coming around the Cape of Africa and like near Cape Town, South Africa. They was coming around that Cape to the Atlantic, and there's actually shipwreckage, in the ocean, south of South Africa. Ships that they were trying to take to joined to the Atlantic slavery trade. Um, so, um, so don't let people tell you that you have no connection to East Africa, you have no connection to Kiswahili. Don't let them tell you that Kiswahili is Arabic. It's not. People who speak Arabic cannot understand people who speak Kiswahili, and people who understand Kiswahili cannot understand people who speak Arabic. Um, all languages have loan words. And since there were a lot of trade amongst Arabs and East Africans, there are loan words that mostly involve trade in the language. But for every word that was based on an Arabic word, um, there's also a Bantu equivalent, such as, for instance, Salama or Dar es Salaam. They say that's means house of peace. And then Salama, they mostly use that to mean safety or security. But the Bantu word is Amani. And it's a lot of things like that. Same thing with like the word Swahili. People say that comes from an Arabic word that means the coast. But there's also a Bantu word, Pawani, which means coast. So don't let anybody tell you that Kiswahili is corrupted Arabic. That's foolishness. Um, the first script that it was written to our knowledge, was the Arabic script due to the politics of the day, and then they later switched to the Roman letters. But this is our language. Um, Kiswahili, to my knowledge, was first introduced to African Americans by Malana Karinga, the creator of the Kwanzaa holiday. The word Kwanzaa um, is a Kiswahili word which means first, and Kwanzaa is the festival of first fruits, and every single principle, all seven principles, um, are uh, named after Kiswahili words. And so that's our first introduction. So most of us at least have that brief exposure to Kiswahili. Also, Kiswahili, it's not spoken by a small group of Africans. It's spoken um, by at least 150 million Africans. Um, and in various countries, it's not just spoken. A lot of people want to tell you that it's Zanzibar, and that's where most people speak it. People speak Kiswahili in Zanzibar, Comoros, a little bit of Madagascar, um, Kenya, of course, Tanzania, a little bit in Rwanda, a little bit in Uganda, a little bit in Somalia, a little bit um, in Congo. It is also the only indigenous African language that's recognized as a working language by the African Union. And on top of all that, there aren't many language apps that have African languages, but when they do have an African language, it's usually Kiswahili. I'm not saying none don't exist. I've seen a little bit of Shona and Twi and or it might be pronounced in Tree, might be pronouncing it wrong, and Zulu. I've seen some other, little touch, introduction on some of these other languages on apps, but most of the resources that you will find on African languages are going to be resources for Kiswahili. Um, Based on my research, Kiswahili is the easiest African language for an English speaker to learn because it's a non-tonal language. The definitions of words do not change based on tone like most other African languages. Basically, it's just, what you say is what you get for the most part. Now, I know, like, when you have the sound J, like Moja, which means one, Um, that, in Kenya they might say moya is more like Y than a J sound, but I mean that's what all languages. That's just like in United States. Everybody, people in New York don't sound like people in Texas, and people in California don't sound like people in Ohio. So that's not really major. Okay, so with that being said, I think numbers are the most important thing. I For whatever reason, I'm able to remember numbers better than anything else. And so whenever I'm listening to Kiswahili, no matter how fast somebody's talking, I can always catch the numbers. And that's really good when you're out buying things and when you're out shopping. I remember my daughter wanted a water bottle and I asked the merchant how much it costs. And he asked the manager, the owner, and she said one price, and then he came back and told me another price, and I said, "Nah, don't play those games with me. I just heard what she said, and she said this price." And I was really proud to be able to do that. Um, but so we'll start with the numbers, and then every time I do a posting, you're going to start with something else, and you know, if I say anything incorrect, then you know it's incorrect. If you're a native speaker, or even if you're not a native speaker, I have no problem with correction. I'm not actually a teacher. I am still a student. I plan to be a teacher one day, which is mwalimu. Right now, I'm still mwafunzi, which is a student, and I just, invite, everybody to come with me on this journey to learn Kiswahili, Karibu, which means come close or welcome. So, with that being said, our first lesson: one, moja; two, mbili; three, tatu; four, nne; five, tano; six, sita; seven, saba; eight, nane; nane; nine, tisa; 10, kumi. And then when you go into the teens, you just say 10 plus 1. Kumi na moja, 11. Kumi na bili means 12. Kumi na tatu means 13. Na simply means and, or sometimes it means with. Okay. Then for 20, that's Ishirini. For 30 is Stolatini, or sometimes it's pronounced Salasini. Um, um, for 40 is Irobaini. 50 is Hamsini. 60 is Satini. 70 is Sabini. 80 is um, Delmanini. I know Delmanini sounds a lot like Bellatini, and I often have to be careful not to get my 30 and my 80 confused. Um, 90 is Ticini. 100 is Mia, so 100 is Mia Moja. 1,000 is Elfu, so 1,000 is Elfu Moja. 100,000 is Laki. So 100,000 will be Laki Moja. And then a million is Milioni. Um, so those are our numbers. So, let's run through 1 to 10 really quick again. Moja, Mbili, Tatu, Ine, Tano, Sita, Saba, Nane, Nane, Tisa, Kumi. Okay, well, that's going to be it for today. I'm sorry. I have a scratchy throat. I was diagnosed with bronchitis about a month ago, so I'm trying to get my natural herbs on and get it better. Get my my respiratory health back up. Got to start back running too. I used to be uh, a avid runner. I started doing a lot of yoga, which is good, but weightlifting, but I got to run too. That helps with the breathing. But so I hope I wasn't too distracted with my you know my voice today. All right. So with that being said, I will come back, in about a week's time, and I will do another lesson. I'm gonna try to be consistent. I'm gonna do my best, absolute best this time, to not go much more than a week without posting. All right, so Asante Sana for watching. That means thank you very much, or thanks a lot for watching. Kwaheri Kwasasa, which means goodbye for now. And please like the video if you liked it. And I will be very happy, Nimerudi Sana. I will be very happy if you were to subscribe to my channel. Kwaheri Kwasasa.